I slammed on the brakes in my driveway, heart pounding in disbelief as the garage door opener screeched and jammed halfway up. Two massive, filthy trucks were crammed inside my private garage, diesel fumes burning my lungs, oil already staining the concrete floor. Rage exploded through me. This was straight-up home invasion. There she stood, blocking my parking spot. Delilah Thornberry, the infamous HOA vice president, clipboard clutched like a weapon, smug smile dripping with arrogance. "What the hell are your trucks doing in my garage?" I roared, my voice shaking with fury. "Emergency protocol," she sneered. "I have master keys for the good of the community." One truck proudly displayed, HOA board member. The other was her husband's monster rig. They'd invaded while I was at work, then slapped a violation notice on my door. This power-drunk Karen had just declared war on the wrong person. The brutal takedown that followed was chaos wrapped in delicious justice. Her meltdown was priceless. I'm Ezra Caldwell, 52, a third-generation machinist who bleeds motor oil and American steel. For 12 hours a day, I craft precision aerospace parts that keep fighter jets flying. My hands are scarred from decades of honest work, calloused from tools most people can't even name. 6 months ago, my beloved Aunt Millicent passed and left me her modest 1960s ranch house in Maplewood Heights, a quiet corner lot subdivision where I thought neighbors still waved and minded their own business. My detached single-car garage barely fits my pride and joy. My father's restored 1985 Chevy pickup, every bolt, wire, and drop of paint a testament to 3 generations of Caldwell sweat equity. But Delilah Thornberry, the self-appointed dictator of suburbia, had been circling my property like a vulture for months. Perfectly coiffed blonde hair, manicured nails that had never touched real labor, and a Mercedes SUV worth more than my annual salary. For 8 years, she'd terrorized the neighborhood as HOA vice president, measuring grass blades with rulers, snapping violation photos like building criminal dossiers. Her husband owns Thornberry Construction. Conveniently, every fine came with a recommendation for their services. 3 weeks earlier, the city announced street resurfacing. Normal people ask neighbors politely for temporary parking help. Not Princess Delilah. She designated her cronies' driveways as priority zones and unilaterally declared my garage emergency overflow parking for community vehicles, without permission, notice, or a single word to the owner. That evening, digging through Aunt Millicent's stored paperwork amid the musty smell of old cardboard, I found it buried under Christmas cards and recipe clippings. The original 1962 subdivision deed. My hands trembled as I unfolded the yellow document. According to the surveyor's precise measurements, my corner lot included an extra 15 feet the HOA had claimed as common area for 60 years. The community garden, entrance fountain, even part of the community center where Delilah held her little tribunals, all built on my land. The implications hit like lightning. Every monthly HOA assessment for landscape maintenance. Theft of services on my property. Every board meeting enforcing their rules. Held on land they never owned. And the timing was perfect. Those trucks were still locked in my garage, giving me the legal ammunition to dismantle her entire empire. Delilah assumed I was just another pushover who'd pay fines and comply. She hadn't researched the machinist who doesn't fix problems. He engineers solutions. The next morning, police officers, a tow truck, and the smuggest HOA Karen in history converged on my driveway. "Officers, this man has illegally imprisoned our vehicles," Delilah shrieked, pointing at the locked garage like I'd committed a federal crime. "He's holding community property hostage." The lead officer, a weathered veteran who'd clearly seen suburban drama, examined the door and trucks visible through the windows. "Ma'am, these vehicles are parked on his private property. That's trespassing. Trespassing." Her voice hit a glass-shattering pitch. This was emergency parking authorized under HOA bylaws. I handed over copies of my deed and the regulations. "Officer, there's no emergency clause allowing seizure of private garages." I never consented. While she sputtered, I revealed the bigger discovery. The 1962 deed showing my property line extended 15 feet into their common area. Her husband's company had billed the HOA for maintenance on my land for decades. The officer's eyebrows rose as he compared documents. Delilah's bluster faltered. "That's outdated," she stammered. "Boundaries change via adverse possession. Adverse possession requires hostile, open use without consent," I interrupted, recalling my father's property law lessons. Misurveyed boundaries don't erase the original deed. The metallic taste of victory filled my mouth as her confidence crumbled. I filed formal trespassing charges and demanded immediate removal. The tow operator, a grizzled guy familiar with neighborhood wars, scratched his head. "Lady, if he wants them gone, they're gone." Property rights. As the trucks were winched out, metal scraping concrete like sweet music, each screech stripped away another layer of her authority. "This isn't over," she hissed, peeling out in her Mercedes, tires squealing, leaving burning rubber and justice in the air. But I knew escalation was coming, and I was ready. Her first retaliation arrived that afternoon. A certified letter from Thornberry Legal Services demanding $5,000 for illegal detention and interference. Heavy embossed paper, official looking, but off. A quick call to the state bar confirmed no such firm existed. Practicing law without a license. Another felony for her pile. That evening, I returned to find Thornberry construction crews installing no parking signs along my disputed 15-foot strip, without permits, on land they didn't own. I photographed everything while calling code enforcement. Wet concrete and fresh paint filled the air as they handed me evidence in real time. The supervisor mumbled, "Ma'am said it was HOA common area. Ma'amlit. This is private property under dispute, and you're destroying evidence." By the time code enforcement arrived, 3 concrete posts and a decorative fence stood illegally erected. The officer whistled. "Ladies got brass." Unpermitted construction during litigation. Destruction of evidence. Trespass. Residential zone violations. That's about $15,000 in fines right there. Every desperate move only piled on more proof of her conspiracy. She organized an emergency HOA meeting to condemn my hostile actions against community safety. I arrived early with a surveyor, my real estate attorney, and Channel 7 reporter Jessica Martinez. Before Delilah could gavel order, I announced the game changer. The community center itself sat partially on my land. Gasps rippled. Residents realized their fees had funded improvements on stolen property. Jessica hit harder. Financial records showed Thornberry Construction pocketed over $200,000 from HOA contracts on my land, apparent fraud. Delilah's composure shattered on camera. When my attorney noted her unauthorized fence as willful evidence destruction and the DA pursuing charges, she snapped. "This is a conspiracy. You locked our trucks like criminals." The irony was delicious. She melted down in a building on my property, accusing me of her own crimes. The room erupted in applause from years of silenced neighbors. Trespassing charges were just the start. Property fraud, embezzlement, unlicensed law practice, unpermitted work. She'd built her own case. As the crowd left, neighbors handed me folders of evidence. Property grabs, unauthorized storage, pay-to-play contractor lists. Jessica's eyes lit up. This isn't harassment. It's organized racketeering. 3 days later, a Thornberry convoy rolled in. Dump trucks, backhoe, concrete barriers to restore my disputed strip with permanent barriers. Text. Emergency restoration begins. Stay clear. Audacity peaked. I called my attorney. Destruction of evidence. And police. Backhoe digging trenches while cameras rolled. Delilah, in hard hat and vest, directed like a general. Police arrived. She produced fake authority. Then she claimed I'd made terroristic threats. Big mistake. My threats were demands to remove trucks, all on footage. Her husband screamed orders to destroy survey markers. Broadcast confession. Handcuffs clicked. Both Thornberrys arrested for tampering, destruction, false reports. Her restoration became a crime scene. That evening, news van swarmed. Jessica broadcast. A parking dispute exposed systematic corruption affecting dozens of communities. With them in county jail, the DA's Financial Crimes Unit uncovered the iceberg. Kickback schemes across 12 HOAs, inflated contracts, $2 million plus fraud. My deed became the template for countywide probes. Federal RICO charges loomed: racketeering, conspiracy, mail fraud. The FBI raided, seizing records that read like confessions. Delilah's margin notes: inflate 40%, add urgency penalties. Arrogance documented. Her bail denied. Defense tried painting me unstable. Subpoenaed records backfired spectacularly. 30 years security cleared aerospace work. Spotless health/credit. Their probe revealed her narcissistic disorder. 20-year fraud pattern across states. Courtroom climax. She sobbed, screamed conspiracy. Judge shut it down. Your garage incident was the trigger exposing your enterprise. Guilty, all counts. 20 years, federal prison. Lifetime HOA ban. Full forfeiture for restitution. Asset seizure recovered $3. 2M. Victim checks mailed. State legislation mandated HOA transparency, audits, background checks. My Caldwell coalition grew to 3,000 plus members across states. Legal templates, audits, media support. 2 years later, Maplewood Heights is transformed. Millicent Memorial Park on the donated strip hosts freedom celebrations. Fees dropped 40%, property values up 23%, marketed as corruption-free. New board, transparent, contractors competitive. Mrs. Patterson's gnomes multiply, leading decorative freedom tours. The Johnsons showcase classics without fear. Mike's honest work helps seniors affordably. My garage, sacred ground. Now Coalition HQ for training. Document everything, no rights, build evidence, never back down. My book, Locking Down HOA Abuse, sold $150K plus, funding free aid. Federal guidelines from our case sparked 47 prosecutions, $23 million plus recovered nationwide. Last month, a letter from Phoenix. Using my methods, they've busted $400,000 kickbacks, imprisoned their board, freed 200 families. The ripple: kids playing without fear, elderly gardening freely, families affording homes. A young couple in Delilah's old mansion thanked me. Their toddler chases butterflies where tyranny once reigned. That evening I parked Dad's Chevy in the garage. Faint oil stains from her trucks still there. Proof: refusing intimidation can protect thousands. Sometimes the best revenge is building a world where the crime can't happen again. You know, it all came down to one garage door lock. Federal prison for Delilah. Million recouvés. All because one guy refused to let someone steal his parking space. HOA power trips count on emotion. Yell, then fold under paperwork. But slow down, document, read the actual law, not what they claim, and the whole thing collapses. Beautiful part: she kept meticulous records of her crimes. Prosecutors said they read like confessions. This happens everywhere: bogus violations, driveway threats. Got an HOA horror story? Drop in the comments. If this helped, like and subscribe. Somewhere someone's facing their first notice and needs to know. One door lock can change everything. Bell.